What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm continuing to show how to make Poppy Playtime Chapter 2. This is part 11, and this is in Minecraft, I guess. And you will notice the walls are textured for this one. I won't really explain that much, but at least as of right now. We're going to be mainly focusing on getting the, beginning walls up, along with really just the train tracks is kind of our main goal here, and that's as far as we really get. And yeah, with that being said, enjoy the tutorial, and I will catch you on the flip side. So we will, I guess, kind of keep the symmetry going here as we start this, and just kind of starting to get the train tracks marked out. Now, to start off for them, you want to get out red concrete, gray concrete, cyan concrete, light blue concrete, and I guess iron bars would make sense. I'm really not entirely sure. So again, we will make sure we're symmetrical here, but just on both sides, you want to count out to the 22nd yellow concrete. You may want to get out yellow as well, because you might not have 22. But just from, the inner kind of edges at the front here, this will be the first, and you'll just count over to 22, and again, if you have to add any, that is fine. You may have to add, I think, 1 is probably what you'll need, or 2. But we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I have to add 2. And then you'll just place a red kind of going back from it to start. Let's do that on both sides, and I won't count this time so you guys can pay attention to your numbers, not mine. So yeah, it'll kind of have a gap between you and the floor, but that's fine. Make sure you're a block above when you're building this, just because it'll make our life a little bit easier. But you will take this red on both sides, and you will extend it back by 5. This is going to be a fun time to do both, but it is what it is. And I'll focus on one side, I guess, for now, and then we can kind of do this a little bit segmented by step. You will start by taking, we'll go with the right side, and you'll bring this red back diagonally right by 1. Then back 1. Back diagonally right by 2. Right 1. Back diagonally right 1, right by 2, and then you'll go back with a cyan concrete. That's more of a placeholder than anything, but that is important nonetheless. You'll bring each of the reds up by 4. And then we'll worry about it in a second. Okay, yeah, I'm lagging again on my alt. I think it's my PC now, because it's having problems with somebody else too, so I don't really know what's happening. But, and then again, I guess you'll place a row of gray concrete on top. We might as well get that out of the way. But when you place this on the inside, you will have another gray concrete from each of them, just to kind of create this. So essentially, because we're placing iron bars on this later, we're not going to worry about it yet. You just want to make sure that you have a perfect line you can place on top of like that. So again, for the other side, once you have the row of 6 red, you'll go back diagonally left 1, back 1, back diagonally left by 2, left 1, back diagonally left 1, left by 2, and then back with a cyan. Each of the reds can be brought up with 4 red and then a gray concrete, and you also want the inner corners to have gray on top of them as well. And I'll place the gray first because I'm pretty confident in my ability to remember that pattern and just know, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. Did I set the thing? I don't think I did. Hopefully everyone's having a good day or night. If I didn't say it yet, I am for the most part. If I did, too bad. I got it fast. How about that? So, yeah. We'll do a little bit of this cyan, and then we'll stop, and then we'll do the main majority of it, because, yeah. So we'll start with the left, I guess, this time, since we're already on this side. And from the cyan you placed, you'll go back diagonally right by 1, right 1, then back diagonally right by 4, back 1, back diagonally right 1, back by 2, and then back diagonally right by 1 will leave you just to the right of this red. By the way, I am kind of building it at a weird angle. Just kind of ignore the angle that I'm facing and just think about the back being towards that way. But you should have this. The last sign will be, again, just in, or just, yeah, outside of the red, I guess. And you'll have this kind of weird triangle shape. you will do the same thing on the other side. So you'll go from the cyan back diagonally, left one, back diagonally left by 4, back 1, back diagonally left 1, back 2, and then back diagonally left by 1. From each of these points, you're taking this cyan and you're essentially going to wrap all the way around the shape that you have. Now, once you hit the back where there's the opening, you should just go straight across, which will make more sense in a little bit here. But essentially, you're just taking this cyan here, and you're going to go back, and then you'll just kind of follow the corner diagonal here. And then once you hit the back here, you'll see, oh, it goes in there, but you don't want to follow that. You'll just go straight across and leave that kind of open. Technically, don't need the cyan under there, but I think it's just better to have it because it'll help us later with marking a couple of things. And then I should be able to just, in theory, connect right here, and that is correct. I would advise starting by filling in these weird triangles in the floor just with red concrete. They really aren't that important, just they're only there for... We only ended up building them in like that because I didn't really feel like being like, okay, so this is what you need to do over here, until I was actually prepared to do the train tracks themselves, because I wanted to, you know, have that be not at the same time. But yeah. Hopefully if we could, like, I know you'll probably have heard it in the intro, but my thought process is finish the train tracks in this part, and then maybe if we could get, like... some of the walls started, the cyan walls from the outside of the train track, that would be nice. I don't feel like I'm gonna get that far, but... you know, just anything to start building this thing up, because it is a Goliath. Each cyan you want to bring up by just 2 with cyan concrete. It is a little bit shorter than the other thing, but that's fine, you don't really have to worry about that. Now, you don't want to put the gray on top of this just yet, because the gray is strange on this one, and you will see why fairly quickly. It doesn't just work the way you would think it would work. It has some weird geometry going on with some of the corners, because I want to say both corners work differently, but I could be wrong. It might just be that the back of it is different, and that both, or I guess all 3 curves do. No, I guess 4 curves work the same, because you have the 2 at the back and then the 2 at the front. Really strange room, like, just built in general with the way the train tracks kind of work. I get them being elevated, but having the 2 layers is a little strange to me. Regardless, you should have this. I guess the way they connect is the weird part. Like, when you have the train track go, like, all the way to the corner or through that wall and then turn, I feel like that would make more sense, no? I don't know. So, when you place gray concrete on top of this, which is what we're gonna do now, the corners are different. I would start, well, some of the corners are different. I'd start from the front here by doing the same thing on these sides, where you just place the gray directly on top of the cyan, and again, you'll have the additional block kind of inside of each corner. Now, when you hit the back corner, it will change. Once you hit this straight away and you stop at the end cyan here, you will end up, instead of going on the inner block, you'll go out. So basically, from here on the left side, you'll go right 1, back by 3, right 1, back 1, right 1, back 1, right by 3, back 1, and then you'll go right all the way here. So it'll be 1 row in front, or I guess behind, rather, the main thing itself. It's a little strange, but it is what it is. It's not quite perfect. So again, on this side, I'll actually start from the front, and I'll go, once I hit this last cyan, I'll go left 1, back 2, back 3, actually, my bad. Then left 1, back 1, left 1, back 1, left by 3, back 1, and then it should connect perfectly there. I guess I should probably fill out this side, huh? But yeah, it does this because there's an overhang on the back, and at the front it isn't there, so I ended up kind of curving it weirdly like this, which also I think made the curves themselves different, which might have thrown me off when I was originally building this. I don't actually remember. I do remember it being weird, though, making the train tracks. So yeah, you should have this. Let's focus on the... what's it called? The, like, center there. So, at the back, where you have the giant gap in the floor. You want to go up diagonally in with 3 rows of light blue concrete that are each 1 row in from the previous row, and they essentially go above the floor here. Now, I'm using the left side. You do want to leave the middle open. I'll explain what happens with that particularly in a second. But essentially, you'll just have the light blue following this shape here. And then, again, once you kind of hit the center, you'll just stop where this gap is and just leave it open for now. I'll worry about that later. But you want to be inside the floor the entire time. Every block that you've placed should still be visible. Except for, I guess, the cyan on the back, but that doesn't really count. That's a weird exception. But yeah, and then I'll just do this. Almost there. And this will, I think, give us a pretty good position to do the train in a little bit as well. I guess we have to do the tracks before we do the train regardless, but still. Oops, I kind of stopped paying attention. It happens sometimes in tutorials or whenever I'm building. I'm just like autopiloting to do something as I'm talking or whatever, and then I just like fill over something that I shouldn't have. So you should end up with this anyway. Now, we can't really do much else without doing these statues. So, well, I guess we can, no. I'll tell you to do this. You'll take the top row of light blue concrete here on the inside and extend it in with a red concrete. You'll then go up diagonally in by 2 on either side, and you should connect together with what will be 3 red concrete in the center. From that point, you can go really in front of the gray concrete, and you can just fill in the top of this in with red concrete, a block above the light blue. So essentially, if I trace this out, it'll be like this, and I should be able to, at the front here, just go straight across, kind of behind this row of red. And it'll seal off everything pretty nicely, at least from the back side. The front side, we won't worry about this because the statue sign will, I believe, take up the entire thing, actually. So we don't really have to do much else with it. It's kind of just going to fill itself in later. But we'll do those... maybe one of the later things we do. I'm not really sure. That looks so far in the future, doesn't it? Like, man, we're not very far along here. I'm scared the game station is literally going to be half of these parts, but it is what it is. That happens sometimes, I guess. So I think in order to make this make a little bit more sense, it'll be smart and beneficial for us to make the red on the kind of opposite side go around. Now, what you want to start by doing is, we'll take the back row of gray here at the very back, and the full row in its entirety you will bring back with a pattern here. I'm going to move to the light blue. I'm going to switch the light blue and yellow. You'll go back with a cyan. Then I would get out polished deep slate, actually, and you'll place a row of polished deep slate, which you don't actually have to place anything for. It's a placeholder. You then need 3 yellow, polished deep slate, and then a cyan at the back here. So, again, you want this to span this entire back row, but nothing further. And I would just leave the polished deep slate open because it's not important regardless, both for lighting and for the tracks themselves, and it'll just save you a little bit of time. Although, if you really want to place them, go for it, I guess. We might actually start with the polished deep slate. I think that'll make the most sense, kind of. Well, it'll be more annoying to place that way, but it is what it is. I would advise doing the same thing on the left and the right with the gray there. So you'll take right here and you'll place cyan, polished deep slate, 3 yellow, polished deep slate, cyan. Now, I wouldn't go all the way forward with this. I would stop. I'll give you a position to stop at. It is going to be the, like, third to last gray concrete. So I'll just use red. You don't want it on these two. You want to end right here. Which is, if you trace it towards the center, you'll be the third block behind the kind of bamboo there. If that's helpful in any way. But yeah, because further than that, it starts to curve, and I don't want that to be our problem just yet here. So you see, I'll lay this all out, and then I'll just go... and yeah, I'll do this on both sides. And then we can kind of focus on the corners, which will also be, I guess, beneficial. I mean, they will be beneficial, but... I don't know. Certainly weird. I feel like it actually might be logical to fill in the polished deep slate just because it won't really affect anything. I am going to fill it in. I know I said don't, but It'll just give us a little bit more of a surface to look at and be like, okay, yeah. But I guess if you really don't want to waste the, whatever, it'll be like 40 seconds or something. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Especially if you're like feeling a little bit slower than me or behind a step, it's always nice to just use whatever corner you can cut. Like even if you're, I don't know, this isn't a good tutorial example, but if there's like a giant wall I'm filling in or something and you like, I fill it in before you're done and I move on to the next step, then you know, you could like just not fill in that wall until later. Or pause the video is always an option, but you know. It's a lot of work to be pausing and unpausing, because I usually just hate building in silence. I'm not one to sit down and play Minecraft and just stare blankly at the screen, you know, I want something to be, some noise to be there, rather than the void, which is either a YouTube video if it's a tutorial, or, you know, just basic old music. But yeah. Anyway, you should have this. That actually looks kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. We'll start with the back corners, because the back corners are the ones that are kind of more important to us right now. So, one of these, there's actually two of these blocks we'll have to not have in the kind of back right corner, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I would start by just placing one singular cyan inside of each gray concrete on this corner. And I'll do a couple steps at a time per thing. These two diagonals of cyan, you'll place an additional cyan just kind of in the corner from it, like so. And then just inside of that cyan, you'll place polished deep slate. And then I'll take that opportunity to do the other side as well. Don't do the front corners yet, because they're inverted, we can't actually do them at the same time, really. But yeah, you should have this. You'll take the other polished deep slate, actually, on the back side here. And on both sides, you'll go out by 2. Then forward diagonally, out 1, out 2, forward diagonally, out 1, out 1, forward diagonally, out by 3, forward 1, forward diagonally, out 1, forward 2, forward diagonally, out 1, and then forward 1. So on the other side, it'll be, again, just out by 2, out diagonally, forward, out 2, forward diagonally, out, out, forward diagonally, out by 3, forward, forward diagonally, out, forward 2, forward diagonally, out, and then forward 1. And I'll fill in the center here in with yellow concrete. Because, yes. And we should end up with this. And then also in addition, if you're doing the other side, you will just place your one row of cyan outside of the gray, or the polished deep set I'm in. It won't have any other blocks, there won't be any corners we're adding or anything, it's just one simple row. And then I will give you the 2 blocks we don't actually want in a second, and you'll see why. We'll cover them with carpet, but there's just 2 diagonals that we want to remove. Because of the... Again, it's an area in statues. It's like that electrical puzzle. That ceiling goes a little bit too high. But I needed the extra block, so... It is on the back right side, and where you have these 3 1 diagonals, you'll look at the center one specifically, and I just want to make sure that I'm in the same spot. You will break the 2 diagonals kind of behind it, so you'll break just back diagonally left by 2. And each of them will want to be replaced with stone. And on top of the stone, you will have cyan carpet, as I mentioned. Just so it's not visible, but yeah, if you look at it, you'll definitely notice it. But the polished deep slate will get brought up, so it's barely visible. Regardless, it doesn't particularly matter that much. As I mentioned, we will do the other part of the tracks. So head back to the front on either side, and where you have the gray concrete here, this lone soldier at the far front. You will extend it out by 3 on both sides. And then from there, I guess I would just place, like, a bunch of cyan concrete, like, I don't know, like, that many or something. It doesn't really matter how far you go. I'm not even going to give you a number, because I won't give you a number really at any point, because I don't have the pathway on that side done, and if I do end up doing it later for Chapter 3, I will obviously let you guys know. And we'll probably make some sort of tutorial part on it, although it might be in Chapter 3 at that point, I'm not sure. if Chapter 3 gets a tutorial. If not, I just wouldn't show that room anyway, because it's not important. But anyway, from this point, you will take... We'll do a fairly similar thing, actually. And so, if you place the cyan just inside of the gray on this side, pretty much all of them until you're looped or linked to the cyan there, you'll notice it's the same pattern as we have on the kind of outer corner on the back there. Which will mean we'll be doing the same thing. Except this time you're starting with the polished deep slate kind of inside the cyan, and then we'll end up doing the outer one, or I guess the opposite one, as the extra pattern. So yeah, we'll do this much at the same time. And then we'll do the polished deep slate, I guess. Not at the same time. So from either side here, you'll take this end polished deep slate, and you will go forward diagonally, out one. Forward two. Forward diagonally, out one. Forward one. Forward diagonally, out one. Out one. Forward diagonally, out one, out by two, and then you'll go forward diagonally, out one, and bring it as far right as the other polished deep slate kind of at the front there is. So again, for the other side, it's really just 3, 2, 2, 3, and then it goes back to the big row. So again, it's forward diagonally, out one, forward two, forward diagonally, out one, forward diagonally, out one, forward diagonally, out one, out two, forward diagonally, out one, and then just bring it out a little bit. You will, again, fill the center in with yellow concrete and have cyan concrete on the outside, making sure you do remember that extra block in the corner, which will kind of lay itself out, actually, for you. You really shouldn't have to think about it when you place it. I'll go back in a second so I can show again. You really don't have to, like, notice it. You might just accidentally place it even, but, yeah. And then from this point, we can actually do both sides of the red, which are going to be very beneficial to us for just kind of laying everything out. Really, it'll be like the side walls it'll be more helpful for than anything else, but we don't have those yet anyway, so we shouldn't be particularly concerned. And you won't really place the gray concrete on the outside, because the red is basically where that will end up being. And yeah. Particularly a setup, can confirm. Hey, we're about halfway through the video, nice. I feel like I'll make these parts slightly longer because I don't want this to be 20 parts of this room alone. So, from this point, at the back side, and really the front side where you don't have it, you'll just place red concrete kind of up diagonally out from the cyan. Now, I guess I shouldn't say the front side because that does imply other things, which would be like this portion. But really, I'm just mentioning this row of red right here. You will just bring it all the way across kind of along this, and make sure that gray is still visible as well, because that will be important later more so. But actually, it won't be important, but it's just kind of part of the shaping. But yeah, I'll just make sure that you have that, and then again on the back side, you want it going all the way around. And it should connect up as per usual at the back. And this will honestly really be a lot of our, like, shaping done. It'll just be the archways on the cyan walls that are going to take a little while. And then from that, really, it's just like getting the yellow walls, and then the ceiling, and then the decorations, and then the framing. And yeah, how much of the framing will be before the decorations, but that's besides the point. I guess you can consider the framing as a decoration. I don't know. Although we have two separate rooms from this. It's the one that you, like, the slide you head down at the end of the chapter, which I don't actually have a teleporter for. I should probably add that. But yeah, you should end up with this once you're done that. And then, as you would probably expect, you will place your row of gray concrete on top with all of your iron bars and the extra blocks in the corner. I guess not the iron bars yet. The extra blocks in the corners, I should say specifically. There is an area on the back we won't want iron bars, but we're not going to worry about it yet because I don't feel like it. That's really the only reason I don't really feel like it. No, but it's part of the train, so once we build the train, we can consider that. Although we kind of have to build the tracks first. And we're almost there. I guess that'll be the next thing we do, huh? Yeah, makes sense. The tracks are going to be really annoying, by the way. I am just warning you of that immediately. They're not exactly the funnest thing in this build. Although I don't know what is the funnest thing in this build. Maybe like There's a couple rooms that have been fun, for sure. I guess this room wasn't terribly unfun. But I also feel like there were funner, you know? Anyway, on top of each top gray concrete, as I mentioned, you want an iron bar. And you don't want to... That's a new sound. Anyway, you don't want it on top of the polished deep slate or anything. Just the gray concrete. No more, no less. I actually like this sound better. A lot more clangy. Whoa, that sounds weird. Sounds like a... I don't know. It's like one of those baseball shooters, you know? I don't know why that's what I'm reminded of. I had one of those that wasn't a baseball thing, but it's more like a hockey thing. Except it wasn't pucks, it was balls. Still. But it kind of reminded me of that, I don't know why. Very, very random. Yeah, I think the tracks will be where we end because we don't really have much more time to do anything beyond that, I don't think. Although I'm still not terribly displeased with this amount of progress. Obviously, I always would like to see more, but I do expect this to be like a good 10 parts of this room alone at the rate we're going. Seeing as how it took me a week originally, but at least I'm not playing with anything anymore. I know exactly what I'm building, which does always make my life a bit easier because I'm not concerned about something like that. But yeah, you should have this now anyway. And that looks weird for some reason. I don't know why. It'll look better, I guess, when everything else is in, but it looks strange right now. So, yeah, you want to bring each polished deep slate now up by 1, or if you didn't put the polished deep slate, you're just filling a block above those little gaps. Also, random thing, the 2 parts ago, I think it was and also partially in part 10, but I mentioned it mainly in 9, how I was having the issue with the, like, banners looking brighter and everything. For whatever reason, Bedrock got an update where there's, like, 3 video settings. It's, I think, classic, fancy, or simple, fancy, and ray tracing, which isn't even available, but it put me just on the like lowest one for some reason rather than putting me on fancy. I don't know why it did that. Especially because I feel like, I don't know. It's weird. Whatever it is, it's weird. So yeah, new settings there. Definitely improving Bedrock for little things like that though. I didn't mind that. I minded the fact that they put me on put me off of fancy without telling me. Put me on simple, I guess, rather. It's called something like that. Next up, you need oak slabs. You'll see why I sigh very quickly here. So, I would take the center of the entire thing, and you can find this mainly by just using, like, the middle of the room here. I'll just take this mangrove slab and trace it back at 359, and you will connect the 2 polished deep slate together with oak slabs, and then extend it off the left and right by 1 so it's on the cyan. Every other block, you want to do this line. Now, on the corners, it gets weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, like, mark this on the side, or on the front here. And I guess I'll go left, and I'll just make sure that I know how far I need to go. Yeah, you're really just going to go all the way to the end here, because you'll end up, like, on the last... You'll end up just before it, and you'll just do all of these. I will time-lapse this, but I will tell you how to do the corners specifically, because they're a little bit weird. So... there is no method to my madness here. If you take the front, you'll take this first row of polished deep set. I'm on the left, and I will mention that because I want to use my rights and lefts here. You'll take the right polished deep set, and in front of it, you'll place an oak slab, and behind it, you'll place 2. You'll go back diagonally left 1 from the back 1, and then back diagonally left by 1 again. And so, again, I would just copy that on the other side, where you'll take this first 3, slab in front, 2 behind, and then you'll just do the same diagonal thing. I'll do on the left each time first. You'll then take the left half of the 3 and place an oak slab in front of it. Be on the polished deep set and go back diagonally left 1, back 1, and then back diagonally left by 2. So again, I'll do the other side as well. And then I'll do this, and I'll just be right at that cyan carpet, which is nice. In the very corner here, it's just a simple diagonal, so you'll place one, like, between these 2 polished deeps, and then it'll just go back diagonally left by, like, 4. And then you'll just pretty much mirror what you just did, except going in the other direction. So you'll take the, I guess, back of the 3, and you'll place a slab, Then you'll end up going back diagonally left by, or back diagonally right, I guess, from the block by 1. Right 1, and then back diagonally right by 2. Front half of it, slab, skip over 2 to the right of it. And then you'll go back diagonally right by... Go back diagonally right 1, and then back diagonally right 1. Sorry, I just like was not looking at it right. So again, I'll copy this on the other side, slab, and then it'll be back diagonally left, and then back diagonally left by 2. Front of it, 2 to the left and 1 to the right, then back diagonally left, and then back diagonally left. And I will take this to market, and I would just kind of, again, you'll skip this first polished deepslate on the inside and place a slab and just kind of replicate this again, or just keep going. And you will want to copy the same thing on the front, just do keep in mind again that it is inverted, because that's how the direction has ended up working. And if I go all the way forward, I don't think I will end up stopping, will I? Hold on, let me just confirm that there's not like a random 2-block gap or something. I have an extra one in for some reason. I have one here, which there shouldn't be one, but you know, it's there. So, I guess you'll just start from the 3 on the outside here, and you'll place a slab right of it. Then, from it, you'll go back with a slab. I guess back diagonally left from the oak slab. Left 1, back diagonally left 1, and then through the block, and left 1 there. The next one will be on the back of the 2, where you'll place a slab to the right. You'll then go back diagonally left by 2 from the slab. And then you will go left 1, and then you'll essentially go back diagonally left 1 at this polished deepslate and left 1. It is weird. And then on the very corner, you'll have a diagonal between these 2 polished deepslate, which will just go all the way. And then it'll be the, I guess, left half of this 2, you'll place a slab. Then you'll go back diagonally left by 2. Back 1. Then you'll count back diagonally left to this block and place a slab behind. Gap of 1 left. I guess, well, yeah, you'll go to the left of the 3 here on the front. Slab, back diagonally left, back diagonally left, back, and then skip over. And I'll just copy this on the other side, and if you want to watch me do it, you can, because it is symmetrical, and I'll do it with nothing else as a reference. Because I'm just like that, I guess. And then I'll do here, 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 there. And then it'll be the perfect diagonal. And then it'll be there, 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 there. And then it'll be just here. And then it will be here, here. Like that? I might have inverted those last 2. Did I? No, I don't think so. No, I didn't. Nice. I do need this one, though. So yeah, and then from the, I guess, outside, whatever you have, you will keep in mind that you have the same thing kind of going, to where if you're looking at the back, you'll just take the second block over and have slabs here, 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 and whatever. And yeah, I will time-lapse this, I guess, because I'm not really feeling doing a million of these while just rambling on. But yeah, have fun with this, I guess, and I'll be back once all of these slabs are placed. So I would say that looks definitely better. Now, we will leave off with one large thing here. You will take the rows of gray concrete on the sides here, the long rows, I guess the left, right, and back, and you'll extend them out with 8 rows of red concrete. Now, you can choose to square this off. I guess I will. Yeah, I don't really see anything against squaring it off, because it's not going to necessarily do any harm to us. And I guess just extend it all the way forward as well, although you don't really have to. I just think it would make more sense to get that all out of the way. And then even later we'll have something to build off of, but we will also have to go further than this anyway in certain areas. So it's not really a huge deal to overfill in the corner, although the corner isn't really one of the areas we need to go much further for, funnily enough. But yeah, just really an additional 8 rows around. And you don't have to worry about the front areas of the gray, just like these kind of this upper level. is what we are focusing on. And yeah, this will definitely help us to get, I think, the cyan walls next. Although I want to do the train before I do the cyan walls, because the train will be important to do because it is just easier to do while we don't have anything really placed. Because once we start getting, like, the platforms and stuff in, it's going to get annoying. Specifically the platform before, which is what I wanted to do with this time in the end of this particular part. But, yeah, you win some, you lose some, I guess. And I don't want to start the train, because it'll be more than 10 minutes, probably. So, yeah, I will try to keep this under the 40 still. Although, if I do go a little bit over, I'm not going to particularly be overly annoyed. Because it is what it is, you know? Sometimes the videos get long, but I guess the less parts the better at the same time. But also, like, there is a limit for sure. I think, like, there were some of the chapter 1 parts that were arguably a little long, like the Make a Friend one, I think was an hour and a half to 2 hours. But I also didn't think that room was going to take me that long, because generally what I did in chapter 1 was, instead of going about doing the, like, video in segments like I am now, I ended up just recording each room separately, and then kind of marked them out. Like, I put all of it into one video, and then just marked it out per segment, but I won't probably do that much anymore, because I generally have a limit with part amounts, and if there's something like Act 3, for example, not that I have another one of those coming out, but that I know would be longer than that time, then I'll just split into, like, hour parts or something, and just kind of work with whatever. If you'll obviously probably likely end up with one part that's a little bit too short or a little bit too long to end, but it doesn't matter that much. It's not like it's gonna screw everything up, you know? It's all part of the video stuff. The amount of, like, thought that goes into something like that is something fun, though, and a little bit more interesting about the videos that people may not realize. Like, how do I want to split this up, and how much am I willing to do this, or as I'm building it, is this tutorial worthy, or tutorial able, I guess, as well. So yeah, you should end up with this now. Is there anything else we can do? Not really. There's nothing else we can start without getting ourselves into a big old mess. If you have extra rows on the left and right, I will go with this of the gray. You can just place 8 red concrete behind it. And this will box off something important for later, and I actually do want to make sure that it's 8, because it might not be. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I didn't know if I changed it for some reason. But, yeah. And then we'll do one more little thing, which will just be filling and preparing ourselves for more of the future stuff. And, yeah. So, the front right and front left corners where you have these kind of, I guess the starter of these little red segments, I would just fill in the top of this in with red concrete as far as you go, and maybe bring at least like one row of the yellow concrete wall along. Now I am going to fill the wall at least so the iron bars cling to it, and then I'll just take the row above the yellow, or maybe like 2 rows up, and just fill across here. Really, that is just for later, because we don't have the length for that just yet. So we don't want to commit ourselves to a certain length of that wall, and I'm not going to worry about getting that just now, because we're kind of, everything that we're doing right now is just inferences for later, and just kind of getting ourselves prepared to look at something like that, but not really actually get there just yet, because I don't really feel the need to go out of my way to count that number when it's just kind of whatever. Because we're probably not even going to use that wall anyway. I'm trying to avoid those larger numbers, and just kind of hit you with the old, whatever, hit you with the, you know, I guess patterns and stuff to get there. Also, if you don't have enough blocks to go far enough out to have 8 rows beyond on the back here, I would at least have like 2 or 3, because we're going to use that corner to mark something later, and it's just nice to have. But yeah. Anything else we can do now? Man. I don't know, I'd have almost run out of things to do, except not really, because there's always something more you can do here. I guess we can actually mark these. So, as I mentioned, you need a few blocks out here, and where you have this corner, you want to make sure you, again, have 8 red concrete off both sides here. And you'll just take this corner and place a gray concrete in it on both the left and the right. Only on the front here, you don't want to place it on the back corners because those are curved a little bit or rounded. So you should have this. You will bring that gray concrete up by 12 on both sides. And this will end up being where the upper layer goes. I will extend the top gray concrete outwards by 8, so left or right. And that's actually where your wall will end up being, 1 block past that. So if you want to mark that out, I guess I might as well now, since we are doing this much. So again, I'll just place a yellow on the end here, and I wouldn't connect it forward. I will bring it forward by 1 and also up a row, so you can kind of understand that's where the wall resides. But I don't want to bring it any more than that, because I know if I start to try to do that, it's going to have problems with the doorways of the train kind of entrance and exit points. But yeah, once you're done that, ladies and gentlemen, that is where I'm going to end part 11 of the Chapter 2 tutorial. Doing pretty good again. Next time I plan to do the train and really get those outer walls built up of the cyan, which we just kind of marked, because that will definitely help us in getting further along just in general, and then we'll be pretty close to being able to do the ceiling after that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.